and welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I am Mako Buckheiser. I am the host of the show, and as always, here the next few months, maybe for a very, very long time, joined with Marcus the Freak on the Twitter webs. Marcus, how you doing today, bud?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Michael. How's it going?
Oh, dude, it's pretty awesome here. First of all, how was that Spurs game last night? How did your boy Trae Young play?
He played terrible as usual against the Spurs because what happens against the Spurs, Derek White guards him, and Derek White's about 6'4" and a half, 6'5", and
Right.
is a really good defender. He reminds me a little bit of Dennis Johnson and Joe Dumars, but he's a little bigger. Trae Young has a really hard time getting a shot off on Derek White, and then what happens is that the Spurs, they take the ball out of his hands. They trap him on the pick and rolls, and so the Spurs make somebody else beat you besides Trae Young, and it almost happened last night because Alex Lynn, their center, hit a bunch of threes, and it was crazy. But the Spurs did what Trae Young would get if he was in the playoffs. The Spurs defended him last night like if they were in the playoffs against the Hawks, and they got the ball out of Trae Young's hands, and Trae Young was almost a non-factor.
Yeah, I really think Trae Young probably needs that to grow as a player for next year. They're definitely out of the playoffs like now. Even though they should be tanking because they've been out of it for so
Yeah,
long here. They've won a few games. They I think they actually went on a 3 or 4 game streak if I'm not mistaken. Back around February timeframe. It was Trae Young and that other rookie that they got. His name
yeah.
slips my mind.
Kevin Herter, he's really good. He's
Yeah.
he's about 6'6", 6'7", and can shoot the lights out of the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, that little core nucleus they have going on down there in Atlanta, they could be something in a 3-4 years. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
absolutely.
Maybe next year they might slip into the 8 seed
Right.
like on the playoffs, depending on who they
Yeah.
draft this year. But definitely look for those guys
Yeah, absolutely.
doing some work in a couple years. Speaking of doing some work, Russell Westbrook did some work last night. He went for 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 20 assists. Only the second player in NBA history ever to do that. I should have got the other person that did that. I should have looked that up. That's my fault on that one, guys. But Marcus, what are your thoughts on that? Just wrap your let's try to wrap our heads around what does this 20 game mean to the average viewer? Oh, that's just 20. But wrap your head around this for the
It,
average
it
viewer here.
right. It was something special. We haven't seen that since Wilt Chamberlain, and I've never seen it because I wasn't born then. Neither were you. But yeah, that 2020 game is Wilt Chamberlain stuff. I've been a Westbrook fan for many years. I like him. It's just this year he's not shooting the ball very well, and so that limits him. But yeah, that 2020 game was special. The guy brings it every night. The heart, the passion, desire. I know a lot of people are down on him because they can't seem to win, but I love Westbrook. He's special, and that 2020 game was something. He did it for Nipsey Hussle, one of his friends who passed away a couple of days ago at the hands of a bad guy. So yeah, Russell Westbrook was playing with a lot of emotion last night, and it showed. But he usually brings that, Michael, every night. That's why I love the guy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Anytime you go to a Thunder game, I feel like you are going to get a top performance from him, no matter what. He seems to lay it on the line every time. That's kind of why. You weren't listening to the show, Kawhi, then, but back in January, February, March timeframe, I was in the NBA team process because I didn't have a team yet. So I was kind of picking a team, and it came down to Pacers and Oklahoma Thunder, and simply because of Russell, him, basically why I wanted to pick Oklahoma. But yeah, so I really want to ask you. We've had two amazing things happen this year. James Harden 30-point streak. That was the 32 game streak that he had here, and then you had the 2020 game. What do you think is more impressive, the 2020 game or the 30-point streak that James Harden had earlier this season?
I think James Harden's more impressive because the shooting is dynamic. The guy's maybe the best shooter in the league. I mean, he gets his shot off in an array of ways that are unbelievable. Um, if Russell Westbrook could learn how to shoot the ball, I mean, he's never going to shoot the ball as good as James Harden, but if he could shoot the ball well enough, to be an adequate shooter, like from 3-point range, Russell Westbrook would be Michael Jordan all over again. But the problem with Russell Westbrook is he can't shoot the basketball very well, and that's terrible. I mean, he's got to get in that gym. He's got to shoot that basketball. I think James Harden, what he did is a little more impressive because of his shooting ability. I think James Harden's the MVP of the league. I know there's a lot of Giannis Antetokounmpo fans, but I mean, it's neck and neck. I mean, I don't know if they want to give co-MVP like they might give co-MVP Rookie of the Years this year with Trae Young and Luka Doncic. But, man, Giannis and James Harden, that's going to be a nice little battle there to see who gets that MVP trophy. But if I had a vote, I'd give it to James Harden. I think James Harden's special.
Yeah, I mean, he is definitely special because of like what he's done on a I want to say on a consistent basis in the regular season. Let's just point that out in the regular season.
He gets tired in the playoffs. He has to carry the load, and then he ends up flaming out in the playoffs. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, but I kind of want to hit on that co MVP stuff that you've been talking about the last few shows here. Let's get that co MVP stuff out of here. Pick somebody to win it.
Yeah.
Like me like that's kind of like saying, hey, honey, you're a great woman, but this woman's the same too. So I'm going to date you both for the next couple years, and like whatever flakes out first. Right. That just pick somebody.
Yeah, those are always tough because see, Trae Young's coming down the stretch and he's playing better than Luka in some ways.
Yeah.
So he's closing strong. So people always remember like the closer, right?
Right.
But Luka has been more consistent. Gun to my head, I take Luka Doncic for Rookie of the Year, and then also gun to my head, I would take James Harden. I think what he's done on those nights, carrying a team in the Western Conference, has been just as more impressive than what Giannis has done. I love Giannis. I give a lot of credit to Coach Budenholzer, who's come in and implemented a system that gets Giannis, that gets the best out of his players and gets Giannis going a lot better than he did in the past. He's expanding. Coach Budenholzer is expanding Giannis's game. With that system, he's putting the shooters around him, like Chris Middleton and Mirotic. Those are just, you have to put those kind of guys around Giannis, because when Giannis gets that double team, you throw it out to Mirotic, you throw it out to Chris Middleton, and you can't leave those guys. So Giannis will get one-on-one coverage. It's a good system Coach Budenholzer's running. But I just think that James Harden's special. You could put him anywhere and anything. I know it's D'Antoni's system, but I think James Harden's the MVP. What he did in the Western Conference this year is unbelievable.
So you were saying that you can put James Harden on pretty much on like any team, and he'll do what he does, right? No.
Yes, I mean, no. The D'Antoni system helps him. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's ball dominant and everything. But you put James Harden on the Spurs and you take out DeRozan, and you put DeRozan on the Rockets. I mean, James Harden's still gonna get 30 points a night. Popovich is not going to mess his game up whatsoever. So, yeah, James Harden could go into any system and just destroy it.
So
he's that good of a talent.
So you're saying the Greek Freak is a product of the system?
I'm saying that Coach Budenholzer has put in a better system in place what they had before to expand the Greek Freak's talents. Greek Freak could also play in any system, by the way. But plus what they've surrounded the Greek Freak with also expands his game better, and they traded for Mirotic from the Pelicans, which is going to help tremendously. If they get Mirotic back in the playoffs, that's going to be a killer, because then you have Chris Middleton and Mirotic, and you double team the Greek Freak. Milwaukee's going to make you pay for that.
Yeah, I was really trying to bait you into saying that, but you are a seasoned veteran, Marcus, the Freak. You are the Freak, man. But yeah, just the Russell thing that he did last night. I didn't watch the game live, but like it means I just saw the highlights, and I believe it was like a minute left in the game. He had like 18 boards, I think, and the coach was trying to to pull him out because
Yeah.
they're up like 119 to 106. Like the game was, the game was over, and like he's like, nah, man, you aren't coaching me tonight. I'm staying in here. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think he should have disrespected his coach like that?
I'm not a fan of that, waving a coach off, and because he had 18 rebounds, he wanted to get 20 rebounds, and Popovich, he wouldn't do that to Greg Popovich. I can guarantee you that his butt would be out of the game with 15 rebounds. It's about the bigger picture. We're trying to win. They may face Golden State in the first round, and you can't have. Can you imagine Russell Westbrook spraining a knee or spraining an ankle on the last rebound? That would be ridiculous, and Greg Popovich would get all those crazy questions in the media. Was he still in the game? And rightfully so. The only reason I would have allowed it that night was because of what I said earlier. It was about his friend. He wanted the 2020 game for Nipsey Hussle, and that's the only reason maybe Pop would have allowed it or something like that. But if it wasn't that kind of special thing, there's no way that Pop would allow that, or any coach worth their weight would allow Russell to wave them off and say, no, I need to get my 20 rebounds. That wouldn't happen. So I don't like a player doing that, but I understand the situation that it was last night, why he did that. Yeah.
So you think this is like a premeditated attack that he had, like he was going into this game with every expectation of getting a 2020 game because I believe it was the first quarter he had 10 assists and 5 boards. So like he was definitely trying to get the assists right off the bat, like it kind of seemed like. Yeah. And I think he was the first player ever to get 10 assists and 5 rebounds in the first quarter of like any game. So you could definitely tell he was out there on a mission, ready to do some work. And it just like I'm trying to wrap my head around the whole 20 assists because he can serve the ball up all he wants. He can put Adams in every position to score the ball. He can put Paul George in every position to score the ball. Yeah. But for the Thunders to the Thunder players to finish as well, I mean that's definitely saying something like the whole team kind of had his back. And and I kind of wonder like if they are currently in the 8th seed in the West. Like I wonder like if that might catapult them just enough if they were to stay in the 8th seed to give Golden State a 7-game series. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this team coming together and gelling like this on this one night shows you what they can do in the playoffs? Like maybe they can give Golden State a run in, possibly, very, very possibly, and like a upset.
I don't think they would beat the Golden State Warriors, but that would be a battle royal because not only does Russell Westbrook want to give it back to Kevin Durant, Paul George and Kevin Durant go at it. I don't know if you watch some of the Olympic trials, but Paul George loves to give Kevin Durant the business. They're similar with the post up, with the turnaround jumpers and all that. Paul George would be really motivated. Russell Westbrook would be motivated. I'm gonna tell you that would be a battle royal. It possibly could go to 7, and I guess Game 7 is obviously going to be at Oracle. So Golden State will have easily the advantage. I don't think Oklahoma City Thunder will beat the Golden State Warriors, but it will be a matchup to see, and I think that is must-see TV in the first round. You usually don't think, Michael, that's a good point you made. You usually don't think of a 1-8 matchup as being must-see TV, but that would be must-see TV. Now, as far as like the Spurs are concerned, they're tied with Oklahoma City. If the Spurs go 8th and Oklahoma City goes 7th, I don't give the Spurs much of a chance to beat the Warriors in the first round. In my opinion, playing the Warriors in the first round is almost like basketball suicide. Oh, yeah, so, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to beat the Warriors, 100%. But Oklahoma City Thunder will push the Warriors maybe to 6 or 7 games, absolutely.
If I was the commissioner of the NBA, I would love for the playoffs to start right now because this just like what you just said, this is must-see TV in the first round of the playoffs. not very many people are going to tune in to the Spurs Golden State. I know we're going to get into the NBA playoffs later in the show, but like I'm just saying, like, if they were to start today, I would definitely be tuning in to probably every game of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just because you wonder what Russell is going to do. Is he going to go off for 50 points? Is he going to have a 30 game?
Right.
Just like it's just he is such a raw talent that and like thinking about it, like I don't remember seeing him play in college because he played for UCLA, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I don't ever remember him, like, hearing about him on Sports Center
Right.
or any of the talk shows. I mean, like, he had a pretty good March run. I was it like 2010
Right.
maybe, I think it was, or 11. I'm not for sure when he was,
Yeah.
like, they
No,
made
no,
that run.
No, that's a good point. But what happens, Michael, like in college, is some of these great athletes, college restricts you. They restrain you
Yeah.
from blossoming. In the NBA, then your game totally blossoms. We saw the talent. That's why he was the 4th overall pick from Russell Westbrook to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The talent was there. In college, they're taking charges all the time. They're calling fouls a lot of times.
It's more
The
of a
games are
team game, I think, in
Yes,
college.
absolutely. It's a much different game. So his game expanded in the NBA and just took off. And people knew that. The scouts knew that. That's why he was the 4th overall pick. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to end this, in this segment here, just before we go to a quick break here, guys, Russell Westbrook had a 20-point, 20 rebound, 20 assist game last night. Wilt Chamberlain is the only other player in history ever to ever have this. And I think they even said it's never even happened in college, and nothing on record is in high school to have this either. So it just wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
Only 2 players ever to play basketball from high school to college to NBA to ever have this happen. So
Yeah.
we will come back, and I see you got your Texas hat on. We're going to talk a little NIT, man. We'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
All right, guys, welcome back to RTS Sports Talk. And as promised, we're going to talk a little NIT. Marcus's Texas Longhorns played the old TCU Horned Frogs last night, and they defeat them last night. And Lipscomb defeated the Shockers of Wichita State. It's kind of ironic that Wichita State is called Wichita State because Wichita is a city in Kansas. They're not a state, and there's not a Wichita college. That whole thing's weird. I'm from Kansas. I can say that, but go Shockers, even though they lost. So the NIT final is Lipscomb and Texas. I mean, like, Texas Longhorns, like, is your team. Give us a little insight. Do you think they're going to win the first NIT? I believe it was since like the early 50s or 60s, I believe, is when they last won the NIT.
Yeah.
Give me some insights on that. Like, what are your thoughts on Texas and
No,
NIT?
Listen, they can win it. They've been playing well. Everybody's down on Shaka Smart here. He hasn't produced what people thought. He's missed the NCAA tournament now twice now, which is almost unforgivable. He's had some Final Four runs with VCU, so everybody thought that was going to happen here. And then he's getting good recruits. It's just not panning out. But I got to give them a little credit. They've hunkered down here. They won some games in the NIT. They didn't want to go out like that. They didn't want their season in like that. And they got their 20th victory last night. I give them all the credit in the world. They beat TCU, who was a team that already beat them twice early in the year. It's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Yep.
In the NFL, we know that's the case. But yeah, in college too, you can't beat. It's really hard to beat a team 3 times. And Texas is playing really good defense. They're getting good play out of Ozakowski and their new point guard. Well, they have Coleman is their point guard, but they've implemented a kid named Ramey, a freshman, and he didn't play well last night, but he's been making a big change for them, Ramey. And Um, yes, they've just been playing really well. They're going to go up against Liscum, who's got a really good player in Matthews, 6'5". He had a couple of big games prior to getting into this final, and this guy can shoot the basketball. Matthews, he's about six, like I said, 6'5". He had like a 40-something point game about a week ago. He's athletic. He's not just a shooter. He can take it to the basket. He can dunk on you. And so I think Texas will beat Liscum. They'll do a little bit what Pop did to Trae Young last night. They got to get the ball. They'll trap Matthews. They'll make it tough for him. They'll challenge him. And so I do think Texas can win. Texas is playing well. I wish they would have played this well in the regular season. They might be in the NCAA tournament, but they didn't want to go out like that. They're playing well now. They've got their 20th victory last night, and I think they actually get a break playing Liscum, and not a bigger team. But I'm not going to downgrade Liscum too much. They're here, and they've got a hell of a player, and so it's gonna be fun to see. But the bottom line is, though, people are down on Shaka. He's getting a heck of a recruiting class coming in. And so I don't think that he can survive another like non-NCAA tournament and then head to the NIT next year. I don't think he can survive that. I think they'd let him go. I think the boosters, they'd let him go, and then he would just walk away with a check for $10-11 million or whatever it is.
Right. But let me add to that point a little bit here. I got it. That was exciting. That came out of nowhere. But the boosters at Texas, the Texas community in general, you guys have to respect a NIT championship. I think I would much rather win a NIT championship than get knocked out in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Because think about this, I believe the first two rounds are played at your home court. Like if you're the higher seed in the NIT. That brings in so much more money to the school. So like if you are able, to fill those stands for two more games, I mean, like the college is winning at the end of the day, and you get knocked because like think about this. Can you remember every first round team that was in the NCAA tournament right now?
No, you're right. Yeah. I mean, to get the home games that UT got is nice. I mean, the attendance wasn't great because, like I said, people were down on them. But I don't know, it's just something about saying you were in the NCAA tournament. Well, I mean, it's almost like a prestige thing.
Yeah,
and so
I definitely understand that.
Yeah, so I do think they'd rather say, hey, we played Marquette in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They lost. But I think they'd rather have a shot at getting to the Sweet 16 than getting to an NIT final. But that's not to say they're not stoked about getting to the NIT and getting to Madison Square Garden and playing. I think the boosters are happy right now. I mean, they're content, and so UT's playing really well. And let's hope this can carry over into that good recruiting class he's getting. He's getting a kid by the name of Will Baker. He's a 7-footer.
Oh, there we go.
So let's hope that can transition into next year, and they can play better next year, and let's get an NCAA tournament. Shaka Smart's not going to survive not getting into an NCAA tournament next year, though. That's done. It's basically this year, put up or shut up in 2020 for Shaka Smart.
Well, and the reason why I want to talk the NIT was because earlier in the season, I said the Big 12 was the best basketball conference in the country. And I think this shows it right here. The teams that did not make the NCAA tournament all made the NIT, and they both made it to the finals. Do you think this shows the depth of the Big 12 has? And who do you think is the best basketball conference in America? The men's basketball conference.
Yeah, that's a good one. This does show the depth of the Big 12. I mean, not so much even the NIT, but you look at what Texas Tech's doing. I mean, we have a Big 12 representative in the Final Four. I mean, that's pretty huge. And Chris Beard's doing a great job there at Texas Tech. So, it does show the depth of the Big 12. We had some good stuff happen in the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, like Kansas was down a couple of players. Otherwise, Kansas would probably have a really legitimate shot to be in this Final Four. Let's just be honest. But injuries happen.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. So
Same thing.
nobody's crying.
Same
Nobody's
thing.
crying about the injuries, but
Yes, same thing with my Kansas State. Like if I think if Wade he would have played, we would have easily beat Auburn.
yeah,
I just really feel that in my body.
yeah,
I think K State matched up well against Auburn, and we wouldn't be talking about Auburn making this historic run and
right.
like
No,
why
you're right. I
not?
mean, yeah, injuries are part of it.
So
As far as the best conference is concerned, I love the Big Ten and I love the ACC. Big 12's right there at third. Pac-12 this year was bad. I mean, it wasn't that good. Although I loved Oregon, how they made a good run. But yeah, you're talking, yeah, ACC, Big 10, Big 12 right there. Those are top three conferences easily.
okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You have to rank the like the top five power conferences. You got the Pac-12, ACC, SEC, Big 10, and Big 12. Who is your number one?
Oh man, that's a good one. Man, I love the Big 10. By the way, I just love the way they play.
Yeah.
Probably I'd go ACC, Big 10, Big East. No, excuse me, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Big East, and Pac-12.
So
Pac-12 was down this year. So yeah, they're the fifth.
so you aren't even putting the SEC in the top five.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Well, actually, yeah, SEC, yeah, absolutely. Did I forget the SEC? Yeah, they're somewhere in that second and third. But ACC, Big 10, I love the Big 10. Yeah, you're talking Big 12, yeah, SEC, yeah, you're right there, and then Pac-12, Big East. That's six actually, yeah.
yeah. We kind of forget about the Big East just
Yeah,
because they aren't a 25 team conference like they were
right.
five six years ago. But earlier in the season, I was down on the Big Ten hard. I thought they were way overrated.
Yeah,
Michigan State lost their top guy. I was like, they're done.
yeah,
Indiana's trash. Purdue is an overrated team. Michigan's an
yeah,
overrated team. And then look what they did in the NCAA tournament.
yeah,
Like Michigan State is in the Final Four. Michigan made a great run. Purdue put up two great games in
yeah.
the Sweet 16 and in the Elite Eight. Um, Indiana made a pretty good run in the NIT. I believe they made it to the
And
third round in the NIT. Uh,
and then Iowa had since Cincinnati was
yeah,
beating Iowa by like 20 points in the first round, and Iowa came back and made a good run and beat Cincinnati. So yeah, Big Ten showed out
yeah,
this year.
yeah. And then thinking about it now, I think the SEC or sorry, the ACC is like overrated because you had those two top blue blood teams get knocked out and not even make it to the Final Four.
Yeah,
North
kind of
Carolina
good.
and Duke with very very high recruiting classes. So I I almost got to bump them down to number four now. Like
Yeah,
I will agree with you. The Big Ten is number one now. Number two, I got to go with the Big 12 from top to bottom. I think they could beat the SEC and ACC top to bottom, and I have to go SEC, ACC, and then I do like your pick in the Big East. I think the Pac-12 trash. Oregon got lucky on a few games. They were
mm,
they honestly shouldn't even been in the tournament, but they won their conference
right.
and they made a they made a pretty historic run, and that was the only
They
team
did.
they had, to be honest with you. Um, so your Texas Longhorns, I think they play Tuesday night if I'm not mistaken.
Thursday. They play tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow
Thursday.
Thursday
Okay,
night.
there
So
you go.
Thursday at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Central. Yeah.
There you go. So you have them beating Lipscomb.
Yeah, I mean, just got to contain Matthews, and we'll be good. And that shouldn't be that hard to do. I mean, Shaka Smart, they're known for a defense that he brought from VCU. So yeah, absolutely.
The only
Texas,
thing I'm scared about this is Lipscomb kind of feels like they're Auburn. They're a team on
yeah,
a mission, and I believe they're like the sixth seed going like on their side of the bracket. They are the lowest seed ever to make it or not ever, but in a very very long time to make it to the finals in the
yeah,
NIT.
Hey, listen, this is a single game elimination. If Liscombe starts raining down threes everywhere, it could be a long night.
Yeah,
This isn't like that we talked about yesterday. This isn't a best of 7. This is anything can happen.
right.
Winner take all. This is game 7. Yeah.
So guys, like you just said, the game is Thursday, 6 p.m. Central. Where do you know where they're playing at, or like are they playing in New York?
Yeah, it's Madison Square Garden.
Right. So hopefully the stage isn't too big for anybody here. We all have a. I'm going to be tuning in. I just love college basketball, honestly. Like I can't get enough of it. But guys, we're going to go to break real quick here, and we're going to talk NFL draft next. It's right around the corner, but maybe 2 weeks away, isn't it? Maybe 3 weeks away. Yeah, we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to give the floor over to Marcus the Freak over there. If you guys are not following him on the Twitter machine, it's at Marcus the Freak. Me and him started following each other, and he's a freak over there, guys. You better.
And I just entered the Twitter world. I just got a Twitter account like a week ago, so I'm new to the Twitter world. So yeah.
Hey, Twitter is a very. I'm on there as well at mbuck41. The guys' stuff is in the description below. If you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, all that good stuff. Also on Facebook, RTF Sports Talk as well. We do have a little Facebook page there. I'm not as active as I should be on there. We have a group of people on there. There's Matthew Lyle on there, Billy Hatton, and I'll add Marcus on there as lock as well. We will definitely start to be more active on that page in the times coming here. But floor is yours, Marcus the Freak. NFL draft. What do you got for us?
No, it's a lot of intrigue. I love the NFL draft. Ever since I was a kid, I used to wake up and I couldn't. It used to be Saturday, Sunday mornings. It started at 11 in the morning on Saturdays when I was a kid, and I've just loved the NFL draft, the intrigue in it. It is the ultimate reality TV show, the NFL draft. You don't know what's going to happen. These 21-year-old kids are about to become millionaires. It's my favorite. It's also the NBA draft as well, but the NFL draft is special to me. The intrigue this year, is Kyler Murray going to go number 1 to Arizona? That's probably looks like the case. And what do you do with Josh Rosen? Okay, so that's a big deal. You got to send him away for a first round pick. You're not sending Josh Rosen away unless you're going to get a first round pick. Okay, so
let's just stop right there. Like I remember about two weeks ago, there was rumors of him going to the New York Giants, but they were only offering like a third round pick, maybe a second round pick. You wouldn't let him go for a second round pick, for a opportunity to get a talent like Kyler?
I would if that was the last option. Gun to my head, we have to pull the trigger. But absolutely not. You got to do your due diligence, weigh in all your options. I think Josh Rosen's a first-round talent. If you were to put Josh Rosen in this draft right now, he would be the best quarterback ahead of Drew Lock and Haskins and Kyler Murray. So you're going to have to get some kind of equal value for him. They traded up to get him last year at the 10th pick. There's going to be some takers out there. Everybody's bluffing. Everybody's lying right now.
Right.
I even think the Denver Broncos, with the 10th pick, I think they're probably going to take Drew Lock at 10. I think John Elway loves Drew Lock, but if you're John Elway and you think Josh Rosen's better than Drew Lock, then you send the 10th pick to Arizona and you take Josh Rosen and back for the 10th pick. Yeah. You don't sit there and wait for Drew Lock.
And I kind of like that too, because they did just pick up Joe Flacco in free agency, and like I kind of feel like this is an Aaron Rodgers, Brett
Favre situation.
Brett Favre situation, because what I want to say, Joe Flacco's like 33, 34 time frame, so he has about 3 or 4 good years left in him, maybe. And, that'd be a perfect opportunity to draft a quarterback like a Drew Lock, or maybe even get Drew. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is Flacco is not as good as Brett Favre. So it's not like you have to send a Hall of Famer somewhere else, or
Right.
Flacco's a good quarterback. I've never been a big Flacco fan. But he's an adequate quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He would be, like you mentioned, Michael, a stopgap measure until Josh Rosen's ready, if they make that trade, or Drew Lock is ready, or even Haskins is ready. But I'm not talking 3 or 4 years down the line. Like, in other words, Drew Lock would have to just sit and watch Flacco for a year. Then he'd have to take the reins next year. Then Flacco would be, if Flacco's upset that he's going to be a backup quarterback to Drew Lock or Josh Rosen, then he's going to have to go elsewhere and become a starter.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a 1 year thing. It wouldn't be like a 3 or 4 year thing. You can't draft the 10th overall pick in the draft and then, like, when they're 27 years old, they get a shot. That happened with the Aaron Rodgers thing. That's because Brett Favre's a Hall of Famer.
Right.
If that was the Flacco situation, if this is the Flacco situation, he's only going to be for 1 year. He'll watch Flacco, then he'll start next year.
So let me ask you, let's play this scenario out a little bit. Let's say you are a Denver fan, and you guys do draft a quarterback in the first round. What, they are 10th overall pick. Let's just say they stay at that 10th pick, and Drew Lock falls down to that point, and you pick him up. Do you think the fans are okay with Drew Lock sitting behind Joe Flacco for a year, or do you think they're going to have the Tim Tebow effect there, and the fan base is just going to put so much pressure on the organization to get him in there?
If I'm a Denver fan, I'm happy they got Flacco because he's an upgrade from what they got last year.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were to take Drew Lock, John Elway's in John Elway, I would trust if I'm a Denver fan. So we've heard that, and a lot of times there's smoke screen and lies, but we've heard that John Elway likes Drew Lock. I would be perfectly fine with them taking Drew Lock at the 10th pick and then letting Flacco have the reins for a year. Let Drew Lock have like a redshirt freshman year, so to speak, and then taking the reins. You got to be happy with that at the 10th pick. The only thing that would even attempt to make that not viable would be if Drew Lock and Haskins went before the 10th pick, which somebody traded up to get them.
Yeah.
And so now you're sitting there, Denver at 10. You just got to take the next best available player. But yeah, that's fine. Drew Lock, if you're a Denver Bronco fan, you got to be happy with that. Drew Lock makes all the throws. He's as cool as I've watched him develop over his career at Missouri. He's as cool as you can get. It doesn't seem like things rattle him. He's got every tool to make it. And so I would definitely take Drew Lock with the 10th pick. I go back and forth. I in my brain between Dwayne Haskins and Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had the number 1 overall pick, I would not take Kyler Murray, by the way. No. Kyler Murray's going number 1 because of the system that Cliff Kingsbury is going to put him through. But if I had the number 1 overall pick, let's just say for the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott was not there, he got hurt.
Right.
It would be a flip of the coin between Haskins and Locke. I don't know who the heck I would take. I probably would trade for Josh Rosen. But if you had gun to my head, Drew Lock and Haskins, who's better for that 10th pick for Elway, I probably would go Haskins. I guess gun to my head. He reminds like a Warren Moon. He makes all the throws as well. He throws people open just like Locke does.
Yep.
So you can't really – I think 2 really good quarterbacks. I don't think you can go wrong with either one, Locke or Haskins.
And just to piggyback on your opinion here, I feel John Elway is a quarterback killer. He was a pretty good quarterback himself, but for some reason he cannot evaluate talent as a quarterback very well. So since he likes Drew Lock so much, I got to go with Haskins. Simply because of his track record the last 5 or 6 years with the quarterbacks are drawing a blank right now, but he's definitely hasn't really produced very many good quarterbacks over there.
The big kid from Memphis who they drafted 6'7", Paxton Lynch. Yeah, that was a disaster. I didn't like Paxton Lynch at all.
Right. You're
100% correct on John Elway's good has put this team together, put a championship team together. So I think he's a good evaluator of talent. But I'm going to piggyback up what you just said, Michael. If you're picking Paxton Lynch, as your quarterback of the future, that was not a good pick. I didn't like Paxton Lynch at all. Even Jerry Jones liked Paxton Lynch. He looked like a 6'7". He had no arm definition. I mean, he just looked like a 6'7" basketball player playing quarterback. He just didn't look right at the quarterback position. Like Drew Lock looks like a quarterback. He's like 6'3", 6'4", 230 pounds. He's muscular. He looks the part. Paxton Lynch looked like a small forward playing basketball, trying to play quarterback. It just didn't look right. I never really liked him at Memphis or a first round talent. I didn't give him any first round grade. And so the fact that John Elway took Paxton Lynch is mind boggling. So you're right. I mean, if he likes Drew Lock, they go with Haskins.
Right.
Right.
So you are the GM of Arizona Cardinals. You had the first overall pick this season. You do have Drew Rosen coming into his second year as a quarterback. You have a first year coach with Cliff Kingsbury. What do you do with that first overall pick?
Yeah. Well, it's you got Cliff Kingsbury for a reason. So he's the guy that's going to implement your system. He's the guy that's going to have to pick the quarterback. I mean, that's the bottom line, to run his system. And so they're kind of like pressured into taking. I mean, there's no other choice here. You got to take Kyler Murray to run Cliff Kingsbury's system. So if I was the GM or the owner, Kyler Murray would be my number one pick. And in Cliff Kingsbury, I would trust. If I'm giving him the keys to the gate, to the garden of my franchise, which I actually question a little bit, giving Cliff Kingsbury the keys to the.
Right.
I wouldn't do that personally, but people love to find these new 30-year-old coaches. They think they're going to be geniuses, so they're going to go ahead and try to hit on this one. And so, yes, I'd be all in on whatever Cliff Kingsbury wants. If it's Kyler Murray, then we're going with Kyler Murray, and we're going to trade Josh Rosen for a first-round pick. It's no fault of Josh Rosen. By the way, if I was Josh Rosen, I'd be really upset because you're going to just yank me after 1 year. I'd be really upset.
Well, they did the same thing to their head coach there. He was there for 9 games. They're like, "Hey, man, you're out of here." So
yeah.
No. I mean, I've kind of put a curse on the Cardinals simply for that reason. Like I hope they're terrible for the next 15 years. But but if I were the GM of the Cardinals here, I would trade that first overall pick because Cliff Kingsbury has gone on record saying he wants Kyler. And you said it yourself. There are 2 quarterbacks better in the draft, and I think the other teams below them see that as well. Like, I think if Kyler Murray doesn't go first overall, he drops to that 12, 13, 14 time slot there.
Yes, absolutely he would. So yeah, Kyler Murray would drop. Yeah.
Yeah. So as a smart businessman and kind of want to risk a little bit, I would be talking to the Oakland Raiders. I would be talking to the Cincinnati Bengals. I'd be talking to the New York Giants. Hey, you guys want your quarterback? You give me your first round pick and a second round pick. You can get this first overall pick, and you can get your guy. They need to play that system because let's be honest, Cardinals are not very good. Their team is pretty trash. All they got is Larry Fitzgerald, which is is he staying or is he going? Is he retiring? And then their tailback, I think early in the year last year, they were down to their 4th-string tailback by game 5 or 6. So the team is just not very good. You need to build a good, solid core team. I mean, you can have the best quarterback ever. You can have Tom Brady on that team, but if you don't have anybody else, something's got to fall. So trade down. Get the New York Giants are sitting at 6. They need a quarterback. Eli is aging. He's 37 this year. 38.
Yeah, Eli Manning is terrible, by the way. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say terrible. It's just he's in a bad in a bad system. I mean, and then playing against our Cowboys all the time, it doesn't help. It doesn't help either. So they definitely need to trade that first overall pick. I think the Giants would be a good pick.
If you're running the Cardinals, I would have never hired Kingsbury to begin with, and I would stick with Josh Rosen as as my quarterback, and I have the number 1 overall pick. And you're 100% right. You have Josh Rosen as your quarterback of the future, and you don't need that number 1 overall pick. You need pieces.
Right.
So you move back, and you may even move back. And if Denver wants to come up from 10, you take Denver's 10th pick, and that the math on the draft boards or you get Denver's #1 pick next year if they love Drew Lock, or if they love Haskins.
Right.
Now, if you move back to 6, you don't get a #1 pick next year because the math doesn't add up on the draft chart. You would get the Giants' second-round pick if you move back to 6. But they went all in on Cliff Kingsbury, so now they are pretty much pigeonholed into taking Kyler Murray, which I would not be. That would not be my direction, and I ascertain from you that would not be your direction either. Yeah.
Yeah. So just looking at the draft boards here, as far as quarterback rankings, I think the first quarterback to go off the draft should be Haskins from Ohio State. Who do you like?
No, like I said, gun to my head, I guess Haskins, Lock, and then it depends on the system I'm running. If I'm running a pro style set system like a Mike Martz, Eric Coryell system, I'm taking Daniel Jones over Kyler Murray. So it just depends on what system I run. I'm telling you right now, yeah, Kyler Murray probably would not be my choice. But but he's such a supreme talent now. I'm not gonna denigrate him too bad. But I would probably would have Kyler Murray over Jones. Probably, gun to my head, I think he's more of a talent, unless some NFL scout could tell me something different. So I guess you go Haskins, Lock, Murray, then Jones. But you can flip flop Murray and Jones depending upon the system you run.
Right. And so who would be your second player off of the board here? You have Josh Allen from Kentucky. You have that wide receiver from Mississippi State that had a really good pro day. His name's slipping my mind right now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Bosa and Quinnen Williams and Ed Oliver and those guys.
Who do you think is going second off the board?
That is a great question because San Francisco can go a number of different ways. I mean, you can take the edge rusher or the backer gets to the quarterback there, linebacker Josh Allen out of Kentucky, who's been the best since Bud Dupree went in the first round of Pittsburgh, 16th overall pick. But I think they're battling right now between, do you take Quinnen Williams out of Alabama or do you take Bosa out of Ohio State? Me personally, gun to my head, I know a lot of scouts have Bosa ahead of Quinnen Williams. I think I would take Quinnen Williams out of Alabama because he plays the 3 technique.
Right.
Yeah, he can play. Quinnen Williams can play all across the board in your front 4 or front 3. He can also be a 5 technique, which is a defensive end in a 3-4 system. I like Quinnen Williams' versatility over Bosa. Bosa to me is just a 4-3 defensive end, a very good one, by the way. So he's gonna be pretty good. I'm not gonna downgrade Bosa so much, but gun to my head, if I'm Frisco, I'm taking Quinnen Williams over Bosa.
Right, and I mean, I'm looking at that San Francisco pick there, and I think they have to go on the defensive side of the ball for their pick. And with that being said, if the Arizona Cardinals do not deal that first overall pick, I could definitely see the 49ers looking to move down as well. Yes, they are going to go defense, I think, but you have 3 very good talents right there at the top of the board that that you can pick either way, and they are in rebuild mode too.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, you're good, Michael. Hey, I'm telling you right now, if I'm San Francisco and I'm sitting there's draft time and I'm choosing between Bosa and Quinnen Williams, and the Giants call me on the phone and say, you move back to the 6th pick and we're going to give you our 2nd round pick this year and next year to come up to number 2 to take Haskins or Locke, I'm definitely doing that ASAP.
Yeah. Me, like I might play hardball, like maybe give me a 5th round pick too.
Yeah, play with them. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, looking at this board, the Jets probably need the defensive side of the ball as well, and then the Cardinals are back at 4th at the and then you have Oakland at 4. I wouldn't be surprised if Oakland trades that 4th pick too, because I don't think John Gruden thinks Derek Carr is the quarterback of that team. He simply just has him on that team there to save face a tad bit, and he is definitely looking a quarterback in the draft or in free agency so. I don't be surprised if Oakland is not in that fourth spot either. come.
Well, if he doesn't like Derek Carr when they're that fourth pick, then he's got to just go ahead and take Locke or Haskins. So I haven't heard any of that he doesn't like Carr. I mean, maybe silence is a big deal because I haven't heard he likes him or he dislikes him. So
Right.
Gruden's being silent right now, and which a lot of the coaches should be, just be silent.
The only reason why I say that was because about week 13, 14, 15 last season, there was trade rumors starting to come out about Derek Carr. So that's the only reason why I said that. So like I was trying to, put a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit together, hoping it fits. But guys, the NFL draft is, I believe it was April 25th, starts here. So that's 3 weeks away, 22 days. So Marcus the Freak says this is must see TV. I think Thursday night is must see TV. First part of Friday night's must see TV, and then the Saturday, Sunday, it's like it's kind of playing in the background, and I kind of the Chiefs are on. Who they get? Who was that guy?
Yeah.
John Smith from South Dakota State. Okay, how'd you guys get this guy? But NFL draft, guys, like I said, starts April 25th here. Be sure to follow Marcus the Freak on the Twitter machine. Myself at mbuck4041. We'll be right back right after this break. This message from Progressive. Something like that.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And then even in that Saturday and Sunday, it's like the who's who of college players. There are great college players going on Saturday and Sunday that we've all seen play. Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome back to RTF Sports Talk. Like I said, I am Michael Buckcasher, the host of the show. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching us on the YouTube lives. We have replays as well at 10:30, like at night Eastern time. Be sure to like. If you're listening to us on podcast form, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, all that good stuff. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a ranking as well. We definitely enjoy some rankings. Give us some feedback. But as always, I am joined here with Marcus the Freak on the Twitter machines. Marcus, just how is your afternoon going? I see you got your Texas hat on. I got my high school team hat hat on. Spring football starts. Man, I can't get more excited. Football's in the air, even though kickoff's not for like 152 days now. But let's move back to the association here, Freak. The Freak. That's how I think that's how I'm gonna start to call
That's
here.
fine.
The Freak. Warriors beat the Nuggets again last night, 116-102. The Nuggets and Warriors played, I believe, the third game of the year. Nuggets beat them by a couple points. Ever since then, the Warriors been whooping that ass. Like, let's be honest, they haven't given them like a shot. They are flexing their muscle like, hey, we are the best team in the West. Are the Denver Nuggets the best, worst team in the NBA?
That's a good question. It's just, listen, I love the Denver Nuggets. Okay, by the way, I like Jokic. He's a walking triple-double. If Gronkowski played basketball, he'd look like Jokic. He'd play like Jokic. They're very similar in that regard. They do everything. Gronkowski can line up in the slot, receiver. You can put him everywhere. Jokic does everything. He's assists for the team, rebounds, points. They're very similar in that regard, comparing a basketball player and a football player. But Jokic is a dynamic talent. I think he's a top 5 player in the NBA. And then when you have Will Barton and Gary Harris and Jamal Murray, those guys shoot lights out. They're fun to watch. But darn it, when they go up against the Warriors, they look like, Kentucky playing Lipscomb. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it looks bad. It's just the Warriors are that dominant, Michael. Denver Nuggets are a really good basketball team, but they are not in the Warriors class. Nobody really is in the Warriors class. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think Toronto can defend Golden State, but can Toronto score with Golden State? And I think on nights that they can. Denver can't defend Golden State, and the only way Denver has a shot, and say it's the Western Conference Finals matchup, Warriors are going to be up 2-0. Denver would have to shoot lights out. Now they can, and they'd have to hope that the Warriors aren't shooting lights out. Warriors bring a B game, and or a C game, and Denver brings an A game. But the Warriors are just that dominant. But I love the Nuggets. If the Warriors weren't so good, like let's just say this was the Warriors of 3 years ago without Durant, without Boogie Cousins, they still had that death lineup. They're really good. You know,
Right.
Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, Iguodala, Draymond Green. I think the Warriors would have a good shot this Warriors of beating that team.
Right.
That thing would go 7. But when you add Durant and Boogie Cousins in, I mean, it's completely, you know, I know young kids are like, oh, I'm about to say it's unfair, but it's unfair. It's
It is
ridiculous.
unfair. Like the
People don't
the
understand
commissioner
how
should have blocked
unfair
the
it
trade.
is.
Like honestly, the commissioner should have blocked that KD picking him up. Just like what he
Like
did to a
Chris Paul.
Yeah, Chris. I was getting ready to say
Yeah.
that. He should have done something. He should be like, nah, Golden State, you guys are already good enough. Let's maybe Kevin Durant wants to go to the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe he wants to go to the Pelicans. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame the Warriors for picking up KD. I blame more KD for making that move. Like I said the other day, that's equivalent of Kevin Garnett saying, "Oh, I can't win in Minnesota. I'm going to join the Spurs. I'm going to piggyback off the Spurs." Or Dirk Nowitzki saying, "I can't win in Dallas. I'm going to go join Duncan." I mean, the NBA. I would love it as a Spurs fan if Dirk would have joined the Spurs in 2005, but the NBA would have been terrible to watch. Spurs would have won like 3-4 championships in a row, so it wouldn't have been fun for the rest of the league. Like it's not.
it would have been
now.
fun for you though.
Yeah, it would have been fun for me. But even though we're talking about it, it's still kind of like, you know, it's Golden State's thing to lose, and they really don't have anybody else that's going to challenge them, I don't think, until they get to the finals. And then you and I disagreed a little bit on I have Toronto coming out the East. I like the Sixers. I think you like the Celtics, but whoever it is, they'll probably give the Warriors the best shot at beating them in the finals. It probably won't come from a Western Conference team.
So if the NBA playoffs were to start right now, out east, you have the Bucks are the #1 overall seed. They would play the Heat. Raptors are 2 seed. They would play the Nets. 76ers 3 seed. They would play the Pistons. 4 seed. Celtics would play the Pacers. How would you? Let's kind of do a breakdown of the like of the games real quick. Who would you have coming out of each of those first round series there?
Well, look, Toronto, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Boston aren't losing their series. Now, there's going to be teams, you know, Pistons could push, Indiana could push, although they're doing a fabulous job.
Yeah.
Without their star player, Oladipo.
Yeah, and what's crazy about that is when like Oladipo went down, the Pacers were sitting at the 3 seed, and like I said right then and there, they are done. They might squeak into the playoffs as like an 8 seed, and look at this, they are still 5th seed. Like they dropped one spot. So, I mean, Pacers are kind of the real deal.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that being said, Michael, they're probably going to lose their first round matchup.
Yeah.
And who did you have them? Who are they playing in the first round?
The Celtics.
Yeah, I mean,
if the playoffs were to start right now.
Yeah, Celtics have too much depth for a 7-game series for Indiana. Indiana, yeoman's work for what they did in the regular season. But Celtics, Raptors, Bucks, Sixers, 76ers, they're all going to advance. And then it's going to be a battle royal in that second round, much like the Western Conference. That second round is going to be a battle royal.
Yeah.
I call the first round you eliminate the pretenders from the contenders. And so that's what the first round is going to be. You eliminate the pretenders from the contenders, and those 4 Eastern Conference teams that I just mentioned, that's going to be a battle royal in that second round. It's going to be fun to watch. That's must-see TV.
I definitely tell you right now, the East has a line, though. Like, after the 5 seed, boom, they're done.
Yeah, after the second round of the Eastern Conference, in the Eastern Conference semifinals is must-see TV.
So if they were to play out just like what you have them, you would have the Bucks versus Celtics, Raptors versus 76ers. How do you see that playing out?
That is really tough. I mean, if you talk about matchups galore, is Milwaukee going to have Mirotic back? Are they going to be 100% healthy? Is Brogdon going to be back? Brogdon is an on-the-ball, really good defensive player that they would need. So we'd have to know who's going to be healthy. But I like the Bucks and Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals. But that being said, those things are going to go 7 games, I believe. That's why I said it's must-see TV.
Yeah, they are definitely going to wear each other out. agree with you on that. I think the Bucks and Raptors do pull off, their respective games there, giving you the Bucks Raptors finals. Before you get into it, I think the Bucks just destroy the Raptors in the finals. I think the death of the Bucks will just flex their muscle against Toronto. Toronto doesn't have a winning culture there yet. They don't know how to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won the first 2 rounds, but they were kind of easy games. When you play the best team in the East and the Bucks, you're going to get their best 100%. It's going to be a 5-game series, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, that's where me and you would disagree on that
Yeah.
one. I'd have Toronto coming out of the East. Um,
Would it be another 7-game series there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That thing's going all the way there, and it could. I'll tell you what, it's going to be in Milwaukee, so that's a little scary for Toronto. Proposition for Toronto. Toronto's got to end them in 6 because I don't know. I mean, they can win a game 7 in Milwaukee. That's I'm not saying that can't happen, but if Toronto's gonna win, come up East, you'd have to pick Toronto in 6.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah. So let's say Toronto does make it like at that point. Are you saying they probably sweep in the first round versus the Nets?
A sweep, no. Nets will get one.
Okay.
Nets are really exciting. They're fun to watch. Dinwiddie is back now. They get up and down the court with the best of them. I think the Nets pick up a game, maybe 2, but probably at least a game for their home fans. And I
So
love Joe Harris, by the way. The guy who won 3-point shootout. I predicted him to win the 3-point shootout. The guy's as good a shooter as you can get in this league. He's that good. And yeah, so the Nets probably pick up 1, but yeah, Toronto will win in 5 on that one.
so basically, the Raptors are going to be playing about 19, 20 games going into the finals here. I kind of want you to keep that number in that head because
Yeah.
I think that number is important because teams from the East, they are going to end up beating each other up in the
They are.
playoffs in the second and then the finals because those games are going to go probably 6-7 games. So just mentally wore out and quite possibly physically wore out. Just like as well.
And and the reason I picked Toronto over the Bucks is, listen, I don't really like Kawhi Leonard anymore, to be honest. I'm
Right.
a San Antonio fan. That's obvious.
Yeah, you got to be
But he
salty
is a
about that.
he is a transcendent talent, though. I mean, he really is. He can guard the Greek Freak, and he can put 30 up. I mean, who else in the league can do that? I mean, the guy is a supreme talent, and when you have and an Adobe or OG, they call him OG in Toronto. You have Siakam, you've got Ibaka, you've got Danny Green. These guys get after your butt defensively, and they could make things really tough for the Bucks. And hopefully, like they're part of the reason why I would give them a puncher's chance against the Warriors because they play great defense. They are going to make life hell for Curry and Durant, and they're going to make life hell for the Greek Freak and Mirotic and those boys over there, Eric Bledsoe. They're going to make life like hell for them. Toronto can defend at a high level, and so when the playoffs get around to it, you'll watch Toronto suffocate teams, and so that's the reason I give them the edge over the Bucks. But if the Bucks get them, your pick, if the Bucks get them to 7, then wait, Bucks could win that game 7 against Toronto at home.
Yeah.
That home crowd means a lot. Home crowd means a lot in the NBA. They're right up on you,
Right.
and that would be a heck of a game 7.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting kind of tight on time here, so we're gonna do the West tomorrow because
Okay.
because there are a few games happening in the Western Conference tonight that can affect these seedings tonight. The East is pretty much locked. Like this is what you're going to get. The only thing I could possibly see happening is the Pacers the Pistons and Nets flip flop that 7-6 seed. I believe everybody else is pretty much locked. So we will get that. We'll get to the West tomorrow because the West is very, very intriguing. The West has been pretty deep all season, and
Absolutely.
I want to know your thoughts and if there's going to be any upsets. So guys, we will be back tomorrow, 1:45 live on YouTube. Be sure to like the RTF Sports Talk YouTube page there, guys. Like I said, like I've been iterating, please like, comment, subscribe, help us grow the YouTube channel a little bit. We are very, very new to the YouTube, so give us a sub, help us grow a little bit. Be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio as well. If you are not a YouTube fan, if you like listening to us on the road on the way to football practice, that's where I'm going here in a couple minutes. iHeartRadio, Spotify, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Before we get out of here, Marcus, any closing thoughts?
No, just if you're going to watch these games tonight, we got San Antonio at Denver. That's going to be an intriguing
That's going to be
matchup.
a great game.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, it's a really bad situation for the Spurs because they don't want to show anything against Denver because that's a possible matchup in the 2-7 seed.
But they got to win to stay in that 7
But
seed.
they have to win.
Yeah.
So because they have to avoid the Golden State Warriors. Playing the Golden State Warriors in the first round, I'll end it on this, is basketball suicide for the Spurs. So yeah, they gotta beat Denver tonight.
So there we are. Marcus the Freak is ending it with "Don't commit basketball suicide." We out, guys. See you tomorrow.